Good morning, Cherry and I, or good morning, B and I are ready to go. Well, the thing is, I'm actually already in Colombia, already reunited with my Cherry. So soon you will hear good morning, Cherry and I are ready to go. So let's get to the questions. Hello, Alejandro. Yes, yes, yes. Alejandro is my friend here in Colombia, in Bogota. And yeah, before I'll get to the questions, I'll tell you a quick story that I'm preparing for the new season, preparing for the new road trip, and hopefully we'll be on the road pretty soon. So, but now I still have a few things to do to prepare the cherry, to prepare myself. There are a few more episodes coming from the last season. Well, they're like post road trip episodes, but there will be, I think, 3, 4 of them still coming up. I'm busy editing them right now. So, all right, let's dive into the questions. So I tried to group the questions that I have received here on YouTube and on Instagram. I tried to group them by topics, more or less. All right, so the questions. I have my laptop here, so I'm peeking at the laptop screen just to make sure I'm staying on track with the questions. So the few topics we're going to cover, we're going to start with some planning questions, then a few practical things, then a few questions about what I do on the go and how I solve some of the issues. Then I have a "Have you ever?" question section. Then a little bit about money and handling the budget, future plans, and I have a bonus question. So I'll try to keep it short, although I know myself I can talk quite a bit, but that's mostly when I'm writing. And I'm not sure I can talk as much when I'm just sitting here. Um, so yeah, I'm also reading the questions and whatever you're writing in the comments in the live chat. So if you have any extra questions or comments, write them down there. And at the end of each section, I will go through the comments in the live chat so that I don't get distracted like all the time while I'm talking. All right. So the first question. How you develop your ideas about traveling, and I think it's connected to the second question, how you think about where to go next and the way you lay out a route or don't. Well, I have a very random way of laying out my routes. So I'm kind of a spontaneous person, and I'm not very good at planning. I'm pretty good at logistics, but I'm not very good at planning, just because there are so many things that occur to me when I'm on the road. So having like a very strict plan beforehand kind of defeats the purpose of this whole, adventure feeling that you just ride some kind of cool road and you see, oh my God, that's an awesome waterfall at whatever, somewhere in the mountains. And you're like, I really want to check it out. So I kind of like also meeting people along the way, talking to them. They usually give you some kind of recommendations and tell you what to see and where to go. And I tend to adjust my plans quite a lot because of that. And also, a lot of the suggestions come when you already finished that part of the road. So quite often you're a little bit like regretting, oh my God, I was there and I didn't see that. And that was like an awesome cave or whatever, something. And then I think, you know what? There's nobody telling me not to go back. Maybe that is a good reason to come back. And another thing is that I know this world is way too big to be able to see it all in one lifetime. So for me, it's okay to, skip some things. And I'm not trying to do it all in one go. Really trying to just, stay true to myself, feel what I want, how I feel, what I want to do, what I want to see. Sometimes I just want to, stay at home and edit the videos. because they do take quite a lot of time to edit and produce and all that. So basically, like for every day of writing, I do 1 day of editing, and yeah, that's a lot of work. So what I actually do about planning is that usually I follow some kind of either Instagram accounts about a specific area where I'm going, or I'm following some kind of travel chat groups on WhatsApp about the area. For example, now I'm in Colombia and I'm following a couple of like motorcycle adventure chats on WhatsApp, and I'm taking notes like places to visit, roads to take, or roads to avoid. So, and then I'm plotting it all on my own map, and I'm playing the game of connect the dots. So I have the direction of where I will be going, and then everything that sounds interesting to me that I want to, cover, see on the way, then trying to, plan it as a part of my route as I go. So I don't have like a completely, laid out route beforehand before leaving. Um, yeah, next question. So how to pack efficiently for cross-country motorcycle touring, and what tools to bring? What I have figured out over, like I've been traveling for over 7 years. 3 of them have been motorcycle travel, and with every trip, I reduced the amount of things that I've had with me. So less is more because you figure out that I can reuse my motorcycle pants to just walk around the town. Yeah, it's not pretty, but the very first season when I went, I actually had 3 dresses with me. 3 dresses, I was so beautiful. I never took them out. Well, I did a couple of times, but most of the time they spent in the luggage. And at the end of the trip, I was like, oh my God, can I really justify carrying 3 dresses around with me when all the clothes that I have on is, the motorcycle riding gear. So if you are not sure you will absolutely need the stuff that you're taking with you, don't take it. Usually, most of the places in this world, if you can buy gasoline, then you can probably buy clothes, some kind of whatever, cosmetics, tools even. Like, of course, I carry like a small set of like uh, most needed tools with me. Of course, all the keys. I carry chain spray. I carry a couple of cloths, to clean and dry the motorcycle. What else do I have with me? Tape, of course. You can fix everything with tape, so that's a part of my luggage always. What else? What else? I carry a compressor because quite often when you're switching between road off road, at least in my case, when I'm riding sand, I want to deflate the tires and I want to be able to inflate them again. Also, I carry the toolkit for fixing the tires. I'm not sure what it's called in English. Now, my head is a little bit confused because of too many languages. Like I just came from Russia, where I was speaking Russian. Now I'm in Colombia, where I'm speaking Spanish. And yeah, English is like my link between all the languages that coexist in my head. So yeah, let me know if this is enough as an answer, or if I should tell you more about the tools and what else I carry with me. Mhm. Motorcycle maintenance for cross-country touring. So I usually try to do as full service as possible before leaving. So usually my trips, well, the last 3-4 seasons have been between 12,000 kilometers and 40,000 kilometers. So the shortest one was 12,000 last year in Colombia, and the longest one was 40,000 when I went to Africa from Russia and back. So before leaving, I try to do a full service. So I check everything. I replace all the liquids, of course. Check the bearings. Actually, take off the wheels and check the bearings that they are okay. Check the chain. check the cables, the clutch cable and the acceleration cable, the tires, like everything possible. So I try to go, as brand new, or at least, fully checked as possible. And then on the road, usually it's mostly about, the regular maintenance, like changing the oil, cleaning and spraying the chain. What else? Checking the tires, of course, and checking the tire pressure. And I actually have an app, because when you ride, when you're in the middle of the road trip, it's very easy to forget how many thousands of kilometers ago you changed the oil, because you feel like it was, just a week ago, but in this week you've already ridden, like, I don't know, 3,000 kilometers. It is possible. It does happen. So I have an app, which the proud me has developed. It's called Simple Motorcycle Maintenance. I think I'm gonna link it somewhere in the comments in the description after I publish this live stream. It's for iPhone only, but basically what you do there is, whenever you do any kind of maintenance, you put in the mileage and what you did. And I also put in, the brands of the whatever air filter that I changed, or whatever, or oil, which type of oil I put in, and the price. But yeah, that's optional. And then I can always go back to the app and check, like, hey, is it time to, change the oil yet? Or when was the last time I changed the bearings? I tend to change them every, whatever, 40,000 kilometers anyway, because I kind of feel safer that way. All right. Then next section is some practical stuff, like how do I do my laundry? It is actually quite an interesting question, because again, when you're on the road, and I have like basically one set of riding gear, which I don't really wash every day, but I always use the thermal layer, cooling or warm. And that thermal layer is fairly easy to wash. Usually it's like quick dry. So in case I was sweating a lot during the day, I can just wash it by hand, in the sink, and let it dry overnight. And I try to do one like major laundry per week, and that would be either at a hotel, or if I'm staying at a private home, whether it's a guest house or friend's place, or couch surfing, or bike post, or just some motorcycle community people that are willing to host me. So yeah, I usually, my first question is like, can I please use the laundry? And they always say yes. So that's the way to solve it. Hasn't really been an issue for me in the last, whatever, 3 years, well, 7 years on the road. Um, then how do you see a doctor when you get sick? So I'm quite a lucky person. I think my immune system is on top most of the time. I do get some kind of, and one more thing is that I'm really trying to be super conscious about how I'm feeling, and try to, take the necessary breaks and rest days. I'm sorry about lying right now, because, from my last season, uh, I did a lot of writing when I was actually tired and I really needed a day off, and which resulted in, the eye infection. So yeah, if you watch that episode, I had really, really bad infection in my eye, where I basically couldn't see. So I had like one eye closed the whole day. It was so swollen that I could barely see when I was writing. I mean, I was relying on my left eye all the time. And that's obviously a clear sign for me to, slow down, get some rest. But yeah, this last road trip was a little bit of an exception. Usually I try to, take my time and to be more conscious about my state. So when I do get some kind of cold or whatever, flu, I do have some pills with me. So I kind of, know those conditions. So I try to either prevent them or stop them at the very beginning. Also carry some vitamins with me. So I'm taking like magnesium, vitamin C, and yeah, zinc, I think. Yeah. Sometimes some kind of multivitamins. And if something really bad happens, it was in March that I had something similar to pneumonia. I think that's how we call it in English. And yeah, then I had to see a doctor. And then you basically, ask the locals, like, where do I go? Is there a hospital? How does the hospital system work? I do have an insurance. I always travel with insurance, which covers my medical expenses. So if a public hospital is not an option, then, or if the queues are too long, or if it's too tedious, then I go to a private doctor because I know my insurance is going to cover my expenses. Well, I hope so, because I haven't really had that that case yet. So yeah, that's about medical stuff. And yeah, of course, it really depends on the country, on the place where you are. Even like in Colombia, when it happened to me with the pneumonia, I was at the coast, and I was kind of far away from a big hospital, from a big city. So it was way more complicated than if I, for example, was in Bogota. So in Bogota, it would have been much, much easier to solve this. So yeah, one thing I've learned on the road is, like, don't overthink this beforehand. You always just try, or you actually do find a solution wherever you are. So next question, or next section, is on the go. How do you handle bathroom breaks in the middle of nowhere? This is my favorite question. So yeah, again, bathroom breaks usually depends on where you are. Of course, like if you're on a normal asphalt road, then most probably there are gas stations, and most of the gas stations, at least in, let's say, Europe, or in like Colombia, South America, they have toilets, they have bathrooms, so you can, stop for a gas refill and use the toilet. Amazing, right? But if you're riding off road, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're in the whatever forest, desert, or something, then you look for bushes. But then you say, like, hey, bushes in the desert? Yeah, right. There are no bushes in the desert. So when I was riding across Sahara, I was like, oh my God, where did I go to pee? And then you figure out, dunes are absolutely perfect because you can't see anything behind the dune. So basically, you stop, next to the road or whatever, sand track, wherever you are, go behind the dune, do your thing, come back to the motorcycle. Or sometimes when you're riding a super, super remote place, then you just, just go behind the motorcycle, and because nobody's gonna pass by anyway. Well, so that's the toilet question. Mm-hmm. How do you handle so many hours on a motorcycle without an aching rear end? Well, there is a very good solution. Go off-roading, then you ride in a standing position. Or, I mean, you can even stand on a motorcycle when you're riding asphalt road. And I sometimes do it to, yeah, rest my buttocks or to not fall asleep. Yeah, because, yeah, if you've been following me for a while, you know that sometimes when I ride a long, flat, boring road, then I get sleepy. So to not fall asleep, I usually stand up on my motorcycle and ride for, I don't know, 10 minutes, half an hour in a standing position, which also helps you to, rest your body. Also, you can just change the upper body position, depends on whether you lean forward or backwards, you sit in a different position and let your body rest a little bit. Mhm. What else? What else? I think that's it about. Oh, yeah. When you're really tired, you can take a break. You can stop for a coffee or lunch, or just, find a nice spot and just rest for half an hour. Also helps. You know what? I completely forgot to look at the comments. So let me just quickly look at the comments and see if there are any extra questions that I did not answer. So just give me 1 second. Thank you for giving us this time to know about the adventures. The right to follow. How do you know which road is the right to follow? So, there are no right roads or wrong roads in that case. So every road is an adventure road. For me, the right roads are, either curvy roads or some kind of off roads where I can, enjoy the nature, be in the middle of this beautiful universe connected to myself and producing some random thoughts. So um, the only thing is to be aware of is, of course, you want to ask the locals. For example, this is the case here in Colombia or generally in South America, whether these roads are safe to take. Because, yeah, the situation is that some roads are not very safe and you should probably avoid taking them at all costs. So, a little bit of preventive measures there. In Russia, like during the Siberian trip, I haven't really had that issue. So I don't like highways. So I just try to avoid them as much as possible, except for those parts when I really try to cover as many kilometers as possible in as little time as possible, because I wanted to advance and get to a place that was really, really interesting for me. But otherwise, yeah, just give me, infinite amount of time and I'll be lost in some kind of off-roading or taking small secondary roads in some kind of backcountry. And these are all the right roads. So I'll go back to the extra questions for a second. Going from Bolivia to Uruguay. Haven't been to Bolivia or Uruguay yet, so please tell me how it goes for you, because I might be following your steps then. Do you always plan to sleep in safe places like hotels, or no matter where the night catches you? So I very, very rarely book hotels in advance. Quite often I leave in the morning, I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna, end up, in which town, city, or yeah, how far I'm gonna go. So whenever I get closer to the destination, I look on, let's say, booking app, what's available in the area and what it costs. I also look at campsites. I do not wild camp. That's more like a personal issue. I have like a little childhood trauma about wild camping. So, I mean, worst case scenario, I would do it, but I try not to. So I look for official campsites. I have usually my tent or my hammock or sleeping bag, whatever, with me. So, and yeah, for example, when I'm traveling around Europe, I have quite a lot of friends living in different countries. So there is always an option to, crash on someone's sofa. So yeah, I don't plan in advance. Usually I make this decision, around whatever 5 p.m. or a couple of hours before sunset. I was like, I think it's time to look for my place for tonight, and then I do it. Mhm. What app do you use for navigation? Google Maps or other apps? I actually covered this topic in one of my Siberian episodes. So also depends. I have a few navigation apps, and I switch between them depending on where I am and what I'm doing. So Google Maps, I use it quite a lot because this is my place to store, the interesting locations. So I flag all these places and then connect the dots game. And then I have a few other apps which are more like off-road targeted. So what are they called? Wikiloc. I know it's might not be perfect, but I kind of like the idea that I'm in let's say, a different country. I'm in Colombia, and I can look in the database of the routes done by other people and look for off-road routes. And usually these are I'm sorry for my English. These are user generated. So, and usually they have a description or some photos of the route and also the difficulty level. So it's really cool to choose from these routes, and you put Wikiloc to actually navigate you through this route. An app that I used, another app is called Gaia. I don't really use it for navigation, but I use it to check the road condition. I think usually it's quite accurate. So when you see it's a red dotted line, it's like, no, 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 do not go there. This is like a goat track. And then there are a couple of apps that I used quite a lot in Russia. That's Yandex Maps. That's like a Russian app made by Russian company Yandex. And another app which is works very well in Russia. It's 2GIS or Double GIS, another name. It has quite a lot of information about hotels and attractions and all that. So yeah, pretty informative. If I'll come up with more, I'm gonna link them somewhere in the comments description, something later on. I think that's it for now, and then we go back to my question list. Where were we? Have you ever had breakdowns or run out of gasoline on your motorcycle while in the middle of nowhere? Well, yeah, I did run out of gasoline quite a few times. And every time I promise myself it's never gonna happen again. So it does happen. Well, now my rule of thumb is to fuel up every 150 kilometers, 200 max. So my tank is good for 300 something kilometers. So I try to refill somewhat like halfway or 2/3 into the into the gas tank. And mechanical problems wise, I think my biggest stress was when I crossed from Mauritania into Morocco, and it was still like 300 kilometers into the nearest town, and my fuel pump died. Well, I didn't know it was my fuel pump. I didn't know it died. I just felt that the RPM dropped and kept dropping significantly. And with 300 kilometers ahead of you, when your max RPM lets you ride whatever 60 kilometers an hour, and you realize, oh my God, that's gonna take a good amount of hours to get to the destination if you actually get there, because the RPMs keep dropping. So you might end up riding 20 kilometers an hour, or you might be just stuck in the middle of nowhere. We're talking, the bit of Western Sahara, where there is literally nothing, like there are no gas stations, there are no shops, there are no like towns along the way. You're just, it's just an asphalt road and desert on both sides. And me riding at 60 kilometers an hour, the sunset, and it's getting dark, and trucks overtake me, and that was quite a scary experience. Thanks God I made it to that town, and next day I got to see the mechanic, and so everything was good. And yeah, we ended up, of course, replacing the fuel pump. But it was probably like the most uncomfortable motorcycle related experience I had during these 3 years of travel. Whew, oh my God, I'm speed talking here. I need a little bit of water. Because I can see it's been already half an hour, and I still have a lot of questions to answer. Do you make YouTube videos yourself? Yes, I do. And you see my whole Siberian season. I did this whole ride in exactly 50 days. I left on May 18th, I think, and I was back in Tolyatti on July 6th. And the last episode, as you know, was just released 3 days ago. And we're what? October 6th. So it was already 3 months ago, exactly 3 months, that I came back to Togliatti. But during all this time, I've been making videos because it's just simply impossible for me, or definitely not sustainable, to ride 10 hours a day and then to spend another 10 hours editing today's video. So when I ride day after day, back to back, then I can only maybe devote 3 hours a day to editing the video. So then the video gets postponed by 3 days, and then the snowball keeps growing. And yeah, during the Siberian trip, I was basically riding almost every single day. I had very, very few breaks. So yeah, this season became a very long season, on YouTube, but in reality, it was just 50 days, less than 2 months. Yeah, so I'm kind of, well rested now and ready for my Colombian adventures. So we're going, straight into the next season. Um, mhm. Have you ever section? Do you ever get traveler's illness or sick stomach from unfamiliar food? I'm not sure what traveler's illness is, but sick stomach, I have definitely experienced it, but it's been a while since the last time. I think over 5 years or something. So usually, like, I'm very cautious about which food I eat. If I have access to a kitchen, I cook myself. Not because I love cooking, but because I like simple food. For me, eating eggs or rice with tuna or salad is not just, I quite like it. I enjoy eating simple food. And if I do not have access to a kitchen, then I go to cafes or restaurants. So I do not do fast food. I do not do street food, simply because of that, because, I don't want to risk getting a bad stomach the next day or the next few days and deal with this. But I did have it like in the beginning of my travels before motorcycle. I got sick a few times in Mexico, in Thailand, and then you basically, lose 3, 4 days, out of your otherwise busy schedule. And it's not like my most favorite occupation to, run to the bathroom every 10 minutes. Sorry for the intimate detail here. So yeah, have you ever run into dangerous places or people? Um, I wouldn't say that I've run into like dangerous situations during the last 3 years of motorcycle travels. There have definitely been some uncomfortable situations. Dangerous, no, but I mean uncomfortable. Quite a few of them were in Mauritania, my favorite country. Uh, I don't think they see a female on a motorcycle traveling alone very often. So my best scenario, my best technique was to just not take off the helmet. As long as I'm fully dressed and with helmet on, then it's not a problem. I don't attract that much attention. But as soon as I took the helmet off, oh my God, there would be like a circle of men around me, asking me to marry them or to have sex with them. And yeah, then I just, put on the helmet and drop, keep on going, and think twice before I take it off the helmet again. Um, have you been sick on the road? I think we pretty much covered this question already in the medical part. Then money section. I think that's an interesting one for many people because, yeah, a lot of people think I just have very rich parents or sponsors or whatever. Now I basically finance all the travels myself, and partly because, well, I'm a developer. I'm a software developer, and I had a few years of very, very, very intense work. And during those years, I did some, let's call them investments, that would provide me with some kind of passive or semi-passive income streams. It's not enough to cover the travels, but it's nice to have a little bit of, stable money coming into your account every month to, you know, at least you feel safe that worst case scenario, if shit hits the fan, then you can cut down your expenses to the absolutely basic needs, but you will survive and find a job and find whatever work and get some money. So that's a nice idea to have in your head, in the back of your head. Then I also have my personal project. So I'm an app developer and I have my personal apps, and also it's like a semi-passive income. So of course I need to maintain the apps. I need to do some kind of support and answer the emails and react to if there are some issues or something. So it does require me to work on the road once in a while. But again, it's like a semi-passive income, so I do have an income stream again, which I don't have to work, 9 to 5 job for. Mm. And then when needed, I take client projects, but that usually requires me to be more focused on my laptop, and I can't really travel at the same time because usually it's like let's call it 9 to 5, but it's time limited, so it can be for a month or for 2 months. But yeah, it's very hard to combine it with everyday travels. Like if you're doing some kind of maintenance on an app, on a project, on like if I'm doing maintenance on one of my old projects, then it can be less time consuming. But if it's a new project, then usually, yeah, it requires more time. So I try to avoid them as much as possible. And that's why I'm traveling on budget. Like I'm not doing luxury travel. I'm not staying in 5-star hotels. I'm not eating in whatever ridiculously expensive restaurants. And it actually brings us to the next question, which is like, what is your budget and how do you, spend the money? And so I do track my expenses. I do not go like deep into details. I don't write like, oh, I went to, or whatever, I bought coffee or I bought salad but I do track expenses like supermarket, uh, cafe, gasoline, accommodation. So basically like categories. Like I don't want to overdo it. I want to again spend as little time as possible doing that. But what I do at the end of every month, or actually on the first of every month, is that I compare how much I spent with how much I earned this month, because my income streams, they don't provide me a stable income. So sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And what I want to do is um, I want to be basically on the positive side. I want to have more income and less spendings, at least on average. It's okay for 1 month to go a little bit below zero. On the negative side, but sometimes it's also, sometimes it's some kind of expensive motorcycle maintenance that you have to do. Sometimes, for example, now I bought the flights to come to Colombia from Russia, which were not the cheapest ones, of course. But I know that now I'm going to be in South America, so these are not the most expensive countries to be in. And I think I'm gonna like average it out or even it out with the previous month where when I spent a little bit too much money on the flights. And sometimes it can be health issues or whatever. So basically, I just try to keep an adequate average. Mhm. And yeah, on the first of every month, when I compare my income and my spendings, I basically try to adjust my spendings for the next month. So sometimes I feel like, yeah, I'm on a roll. I can spend a little bit more. I can allow myself, some better restaurants, some better food, some whatever, or maybe some tourist activities. Like, hey, I can whatever spend this much on a guided tour or something else. And sometimes I'm like, hey, I have to think about my spendings and maybe eat some kind of cheaper places or stay at cheaper hotels. So to bring this balance into balance. All right, let me check the live questions for a second. Bum, bum, bum. Do you accept to give a ride to somebody you don't know? No. I mean, I would, but usually I'm overloaded with luggage and I feel uncomfortable bringing something, on top of all the luggage that I'm carrying anyway. I know people ride you up and even more overloaded than I am, but for me, like, I don't want to take responsibility for someone else's life. I'm not the best rider out there, or so I think. So yeah, I don't want extra responsibility. I mean, of course, maybe if it was like a life and death situation, but usually we're talking about, some kind of local person hitchhiking or something, and wants me. But yeah, then I kindly ask them to wait for the next car or motorcycle to take them wherever they want to go. Don't you carry extra fuel in a fuel bladder or a jerry can? Usually I don't. So most of the places I've traveled for now are places where you can find a gas station every whatever 100 kilometers to 100 kilometers max. Let's say like European part of Russia, there are gas stations every whatever 50 kilometers. So usually it's not an issue. I just have to, be conscious about stopping regularly and refilling, because sometimes you're like, yeah, there will be another gas station, and the next gas station is not in 50 kilometers but in 100. So just a rule of thumb, like refill every 150 kilometers. That's pretty easy to do, right? So you just have to be conscious about it. I did travel in a couple of countries, like for example Mauritania, where you really have to carry extra gasoline, because for example in Mauritania, between Nouakchott, which is the capital, and Nouadhibou, which is another like bigger city in the country, it's over 500 kilometers between them, and there are a couple of gas stations on the road, but quite often these gas stations are out of gasoline. So basically, you take this into account and carry another whatever 5-10 liters of gasoline to make sure you last until the next big city, because there is a high chance of not being able to get gasoline along the way. So yeah, again, it really depends. I don't want to carry extra gasoline while I'm in a place where I can find a gas station pretty much anywhere. So yeah. Puncture repair kit, yes, I do have it. Tire inflation, tire pump, yes, I do carry it. A compressor. eSIM, I don't use an eSIM. I use local SIM cards. So whenever I get to a country, usually I plan the first day to be like practical, to exchange the money, to get a SIM card, and whatever else is needed. So like now in Colombia, I have a Colombian SIM card. When I cross into Ecuador, I'm gonna get. Actually, I think Claro also works. Claro is the SIM card I'm using here in Colombia. I think it also works for Ecuador, but then I'm gonna get a SIM card for Peru when I get there. Strange experiences. I'm not sure what that would be. Question in Russian, like, you are Russian, why are you speaking in English? Well, first of all, I lived half of my life in Denmark. Second, ever since I started traveling, so yeah, I mean, I speak Russian, I speak Danish, as my languages. I don't know, because I kind of consider myself half Russian, half Danish. And when I started traveling, I really didn't travel around Russia. So I traveled around the world, and English was just, my base language that I used to communicate with, most of the people. So it was kind of natural for me to do my blog or whatever in English. When I started vlogging and posting videos here on YouTube, it really, it wasn't really a decision I was making. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, English is just a natural language for me to express my random thoughts in. So yeah, it just happened. It wasn't really like some kind of smart consideration. Are you taking B to Colombia? No, B stayed in Russia. There will be episode about my transition from Russia to Colombia. I think it's gonna be like in 2 weeks. So stay tuned, and I'm gonna tell you what happens to the B and what happens to Cherry. Cherry is my motorcycle here in Colombia, KTM 390 Adventure. So. Money. Okay, yeah. Future plans. Very nice. Very nice transition. So now I'm in Colombia, as you have figured out already. And so I'm gonna stay in South America until I think March. I have to go back to Russia in March, most probably, because of some practical issues. Again, I'm gonna explain some of them in the next episode, I think. it's going to be like the post road trip episode, talking about everything that has happened during the last 3 months since I came back to Togliatti. So yeah, many things have happened. It has been like a lot of ups and downs for me. It's been like a kind of a difficult time. And luckily, I have been able to leave right now and to do this upcoming road trip. But I have limited time for it, so I will have to go back to Russia, to Togliatti in March, to take care of some more practical things. But then I'm planning another road trip in Russia, but that's like next season. So let's focus on this season right now. So I'm in South America until March, and I think I will do a loop around Ecuador and Peru. I'm in the process of planning it right now, or gathering material information, looking at the weather, because I really want to ride all the Andes mountains, and the rainy season is starting there, so it might be cold and rainy, and I need a backup plan. So like if it's too bad the weather in the Andes mountains, that I want to do something on the coast, and what else do I do? So I'm basically looking for different options and different opportunities of what to do. But basically, yes, I'm going down to Ecuador, down to Peru, doing a circle around Peru, and coming back to Ecuador, coming back to Colombia, where I'm going to store cherry again until the next time when I come back. So that's the plan for now. Yeah, and there is a bonus question. I'm going to leave it until the very end. So let me just double check if there is another question in the live chat. Do you plan to ride a motorcycle through exotic Australia? I would absolutely love to ride Australia, and I would absolutely love to ride many, many, many places and countries in this world. Like Iceland sounds absolutely wow, gorgeous. I've been to Iceland before, but I rented a car and I went around by car. Back in the days, and it was in winter. What else? Asia, of course. I mean, there are so many cool places to see and visit. Africa, like South Africa, Namibia. Oh my God, I would love to go there. I would really not mind going all the way up to Alaska, but basically, I'm taking it one step at a time right now. So now I have a motorcycle here in Colombia, I have a motorcycle in Russia, and I'm really trying to, take advantage of the places where I am right now. So I'm pretty sure it's going to take me a few years to cover all of South America and visit, the different countries and experience them and, ride around and have fun. So I'm in no rush to look for, absolutely new destinations. As much as I would love to visit Australia, but visiting Australia would mean, leaving cherry parked and idling for a longer period of time, which I don't want to do. And then the motorcycle, the B that I have in Russia, again, I want to, take him out for a ride every now and then. And there are a lot of cool countries around Russia that I would like to explore as well. Like I really want to go to Kyrgyzstan. That's one of my dreams. Kyrgyzstan has been on my mind for a long time. So I would love to do like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, all that south part. And I'm also thinking of going back to Georgia. I've been there already on motorcycle, but there are many places that I haven't seen. Going back by motorcycle to Armenia, going to Turkey, because again, there are so many places that I've missed during my first trip there that I want to make up for, India, yes, amazing. I would love that, So yeah, many more opportunities and ideas, but for now, I'll be going back and forth between South America and Russia. Oh yeah, Peru is an amazing country. I've been there, but without a motorcycle. So now I really want to go there with a motorcycle, and I think my focus is going to be more on the roads rather than on attractions. Like I've been to Machu Picchu. It's been an amazing experience, but I don't really see the point of doing it the second time. But I really want to ride the roads around Machu Picchu because they're like, oh my God, amazing. All right. So I think it's time for the last bonus question. So if you have one more little question, write it down right now. I think we're gonna wrap up in about 5 minutes or right after this bonus question, which I really liked. I thought it was super funny. Why are you that level of gorgeous? I woke up like this. Thanks for the compliment, though. So, okay, let's see if there are any more questions. Mhm. Are you already in Colombia? Yes, I am already in Colombia. I'm sitting here in my friend's apartment in Bogota. It's semi-cloudy right now. And actually, I'm not planning to leave the apartment today. I think I'm going to be sitting here and editing the video that's going to come out on Wednesday. So stay tuned. It's kind of a tough video for me to edit, but I hope it's going to be an interesting one for you to watch. Pum, pum, pum. Last question, like when I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you if you can say hello to Vlad in Russian. Привет, Vlad. That was hello to Vlad in Russian. In Russian. If you come to Roma, you have a place to say amazing. Thanks a lot. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining. And thank you very much for all the questions. I really enjoyed this very first live stream of my life. And I hope you got the answers to all your questions. If you didn't, please ask in the comments. I'll try to answer them. Yeah, thanks a lot and have an amazing time, amazing Sunday, whether it's a morning or evening for you. And one last question. I think it is a cool one. If you were offered to participate in a Qatar on a motorcycle, would you accept? You know what? I would consider absolutely any offer in this world, and then depending on the situation and anything, we'll take it from there. So I'm open to suggestions, invitations, whatever. So plans are plans, but I'm flexible and I'm pretty spontaneous, as you might have figured out. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful Sunday. And stay tuned. There will be a few more episodes from this season before we move on to South American season. Ciao, ciao. Love you guys.